Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching this video from and when you're watching this video. So yeah, it's your boy Elzanito, and yeah, I'm back with another episode of the replication series I just started. And today we are going to be doing something very quick. We're going to be recreating something like this. Now I got this design from Pinterest. It's a very nice design. It looks very simple, straightforward. So we're going to be creating ours. Now we're not going to create it exactly like this. We're going to add our own effect and all that. So but yeah, we're going to create something like this. So the first thing we want to do, first and foremost, is to get our elements. The first is to get. We're going to be working with. Let's work with Pepsi. So we're going to get a Pepsi bottle, not the can. A Pepsi bottle. Then just get bubbles and all. So first off, you come to your site. The best site, like I keep saying, for your PNG files is pngwing.com. So just type in Pepsi, and what we're looking for is a bottle and not a can or a plastic. Okay, yeah, this would work. This looks very nice. So the next thing is to download it. Yeah, click alphabet. So it's going to you're going to fill this survey or form or whatever it is called. So yeah, 9 and X. All right. So now it's going to download. Now the next thing you want to get is it's a Pepsi Cola. So let's see. Let's look for something that's to do with cola. Mm, let's check raw material. No. Pepsi ingredients. So I want to know what Pepsi is made of, so that we'll be able to, like, instead of the orange, coming out, we are going to use so we have carbonated water, high phosphorus corn syrup, blah blah blah. So apparently we don't really have a particular stuff that we can work with. It's just sugar. So let's just look for a sugar cube. Probably that's my work. Or at the end of the day, we might not use any other stuff. But yeah. So a cube of sugar is what we're looking for. Yeah, let's just download one of this. So because you filled in the previous request, it will not bring in that same request. It will just download it for you immediately. So yeah, let's jump straight to Photoshop. Yep, this is your Photoshop, new file. So this time we want something, it's a portrait as well. So, our width, we're going to use 2500. For our height, let's work with 3000. And remember, resolution 300. Excuse me. Now for our color, I think the color of Pepsi is what is the color? Let's check the color. Yeah, I like blue. So let's just work with blue. Something like this. Yeah. And press OK to create. Imagine some grayscale. Let's go back. I changed it from it's on grayscale. So look at color mode was on grayscale. It's supposed to be RGB. Then you press create. So yeah, let's make it let's increase the height just slightly. Just slightly. Yeah, something like this will work. All right. So the first thing I want to do is add a solid color. The color being just slightly dark blue. Yeah. So now we have our background, right? If you don't know how we got here, you might just have to restart the video. But yeah, we have our background now. From this image, you'll see that the image is just straightforward. We have the bottle, we have the shadow, we have the light at the back, then the lightning effect at the edges, then the splash of orange and stuff. So yeah, but we won't do all those drama. Like for me personally, I do not like when a design is too, no, it's too noisy or a lot of elements is just here and there. I just want something very simple and straightforward. So yeah, for that, I'm going to bring in my Pepsi. Yep, and just use my alt, hold down alt to properly place it. All right. Can see how chilled this Pepsi looks. All right, so let's make it bigger slightly, just slightly bigger. Yeah, something like this. Now what I want to do now is I want to like have it look like it's actually on a plane and not just I mean, this looks also like it's on a plane, but I want to actually have that effect of it being a plane. But first, let me change it to bottle. Now, I'm going to draw a rectangle using that same blue color. This is the rectangle here. So just draw it just to serve as a plane. Right? Now I'm going to just drag it down a little bit. You can use your direction tool. Yeah, just somewhere like this. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to make it a bit dark, right? Because if it's going to be a plane, it can't have the same color with the background. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, and to do that, let's create a new layer, call it shadow. Now we are going to clip the shadow to the rectangle we just created. So right click, create clipping marks. Now it clips to this shadow. So what we want to do is we want to like add a bit of shadow to the down layer, just the down part. Then at the top part, we're going to add a bit of light. All right, so we take our brush, change this to black. Can zoom out slightly, then take our brush, increase it, then we just paint. Oh, my opacity, remember you have to always check it. Opacity is 100, so just paint slightly like this. Now when you're done, turn on your transform control and just exactly just something like this. So we want to have this effect, like something is just, there's a dark part of it. Then for the top part, create a new layer as well. You can rename it light. Just ensure that the layer is also clipped. You create a clipping marks to the particular rectangle, or you can call this rectangle floor. Now click on select your light, the light layer. Now switch this from black to white. Take your brush. Now brush the white part. See what we're doing there? Brush the white part. Then you can adjust, like adjust the effect of the white. It's too bright, so just shift it up slightly like this. We just want it to have that feel of it being on a particular layer and it's not just floating in the air. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to just pick this exactly. I want to have my own version of the design. So yeah, this is what we're working with. Now the next thing we want to do is now add the shadow. Now because of how it is placed, you will not necessarily see the shadow. You just see just a faint part of it. But yeah, let's continue. So to create the shadow, just create a new layer, call it bottom shadow. Always ensure you excuse me, please ensure you name your layers. Apologize for that. So yeah, bottom shadow, and we are going to also clip. No, before we do that, let's just switch this to black. Select your brush, reduce the size of your brush. Now just dab it once, just like this. Now select your pick tool, and select your transform control. What we want to do is we want to transform that this dab we just made, we want to transform it into a shadow form. So just take this side and hold down shift and just drag it down like this so that it can, just collapse. Then just drag it sideways and you can take it up just like this. You can drag it sideways depending on how you want it. When you're done with that, you can turn off your control. Now, the idea is this: because it is on a plane, the shadow will not go outside the plane, it will just be on the plane. So to do that, like I said, we'll now have to clip this to the rectangle, that's the to this layer here, just something like this exactly. So then we can now add a blur effect, blur, then Gaussian blur. Then you can just increase the blur slightly. Let's work with 20. Let's type in 20, press OK. Now you can reduce the opacity of the blurs just slightly. The idea is just to have something just beneath it to show that yes, there's a little shadow just, and like you are placing the bottle of a Pepsi just right at the edge of a particular table, something like that. Now you ask me why we have white at the edge of the table, and that's because on the normal, like if you look at your table, you can just look at the table around you, you will see that at the edge of the table there's this kind of bright light coming from the surrounding on the table itself, then down beneath the table it is darker. So, and that's why we have that kind of effect. So we can zoom out and you can see that it is looking very fantastic already. Now the next thing I want to do is create the lights coming from behind, and to do that, select this. This is the color film. Now you have to ensure that the light you choose or the color you choose is a lighter shade of, the color you choose is a lighter shade of the background itself. So to do that, just create a new layer. Call it BG light or whatever name you can call it. Don't mind me, I'm just playing around now. So now the first thing you want to do is click on this, select this color so that we can know exactly the color we want to use. Then get the brighter shade of it and press OK. Now you can just freestyle whichever way you want it, but any color you decide to use is solely yours. Now increase the brush. Now the next thing you want to do is just dab 1, 2. After dabbing, you can see that okay, this is looking nice already. So what I want to do is just click on your transform tool and extend it, just increase it slightly, just like this, just slightly, not too much. Yeah, something like this. Now if you feel it's too much, you can now reduce the opacity. Yeah. So if I turn it off, you can see the difference. Off, on. And that's why it is very important to us to understand the power of light and shadow in our design. Imagine we went from a plain white color like this, a plain blue color like this, and to this beautiful design. It's not yet there, but I mean we are getting there. So yeah. Now what's the next thing? You will see that on the body of the bottle we have this kind of light coming in. Now it's because if you're standing like this and there's a light at the back of your back, your edges would be reflecting that light. It's just standard light protocol. If the Venn diagram is. Anyways, yeah. We want to add lights in effect, or just light to the edges of the bottle. Now to do that, click on the bottle, create a new layer, call it bottle light. At this point, I'm just creating a name from top of my head. So bottle light, right click on it, select create clipping marks. So anything we do on that layer would affect only the bottom. Now zoom in. You want to start your light from this part and not just directly from the bottom. So from this part. Now switch this from blue to white Pick your brush, reduce it, reduce the size of the brush. And what you want to do is you're not going to paint it so much, right? Although whatever it is we paint, we're still going to use our blending option to like blend it well. So, but just watch how I'm going to paint it. Oh, you see, it's getting too much. So, something like this, just something like this. And if it is too much, you can always Ctrl Z to redo it. You don't want it to. Sometimes, you just ensure you eat before you start designing, because sometimes when you're hungry, your hand will just start shivering. But yeah, I mean, that is just jokes apart. You just have to ensure that it's, your selection doesn't affect the inner part of the design, the inner part of the button. So just something like this. Don't worry, after we're done, we still add the blending option. We still blend it well, But yeah, just just brush through just like this, and we stop here. All right. Now you can see the effect of the whites, the brightness, or the light, whatever. This is it. Now the next thing you want to do is select the bottle light. Come up to your blending option and select overlay. So we are working with overlay. Now you want to reduce the opacity. So let's work with something like 60. Excuse me. And for the fill, let's work with something like 70. Let's see how that works. All right. So yeah. Okay, before we save. So yeah, we have this. Now the next thing is, before we do other effect and all, the next thing is to use our blur to blur the edges, because our PNG file is not so perfect, right? So the person that created this PNG really tried for us, but it's not so perfect. If I zoom in, you can see that the edges are rough, like they are pretty rough. Although some parts are bubbles, but you can see from this side the edges are rough. Even you can see this side. Now let me rasterize this. You can see this cut here is not supposed to be there. So to do that, what you will do is, okay, select your polygonal lasso tool and select that part you would like to fill. Then pick your clone tool. This is your clone tool here. Select your clone tool. Now what you want to do is hold down Alt. The moment you hold down Alt, your clone tool turns to a smaller version, a smaller circle, I mean. Now just select anywhere. It's just like you are patching, you are taking the quality of a particular part of the bottle into another quality, into another part of the bottle. So let me just show you. So hold down Alt, click on the part of the bottle. When you click on that part of the bottle, then release your hand from the Alt and just paint around here. That's it. Very simple. Let me explain again. Hold down Alt, select a part of the bottle that you would like to replicate. So when you select it, release your hand from the Alt button. Down. Take your mouse and just paint across like this, and that's all. Then you can deselect. Yeah, it's not perfect, so what you can do is just go to your spot alien brush and just brush around. Yeah. Now that we have that, we are ready to use our blur tool to blur out. Yeah, let's drag it down a little bit. So just bring it down a little bit just now. Yeah. Now let's take our blur tool. This is its blur. Now we are going to set it to 80. Now just blur across the edges, just the edges. And what you are doing is you are ensuring that the bottle itself blends well with the background. Like I do say, when you want to take a picture with your phone, as much as your body would show, like as you can see me, as much as you're seeing this my body, if I take a picture, the background will get blurred slightly. But when you zoom in, you can still see that there's no difference between the edges of my body and the background, because it's a camera. So you don't want a strain by people can easily pinpoint that your design is fake, or you just placed a bottle inside the background and it's not like a real effect or something. So just to make sure you have a um, well detailed design, always blur, like every design you do on Photoshop, always blur your edges. You might not necessarily use um, a very high blur quality or quantity or quality. Sometimes you might just need something small, like probably 20%, 30%, or sometimes it requires a very high one, like 70, 80, depending. Just ensure that you're not blowing the major parts of the body, it's just the edges. All right, so we're almost done. Yep. Now, I would have loved to fast forward this part, but I feel it's essential for you to understand the process that goes into blurring out um, an object, and it's not just. I mean, that's why it is a replication series and not just speed art, right? So yeah, we have this a very nice looking Pepsi design. Let's save our work. So I'm going to save it as Pepsi product ad. Yep. So the next thing we want to do is bring in the sugar. Just open it as a Photoshop file. Now we only want to pick one part of it, then we replicate this part. Control J, and you select it and you drag it in. All right. Okay. There are several ways to go about this, right? But I would have loved to place it around, like on the body and stuff, but I don't want to do that. So let's just, on this design, you can see that the closer the object is to the camera, the bigger it stands. So that's what we're going to do. So for the sugar, let's call it sugar. So we're going to make it very big. Let's bring it up here. So yeah, we are going to use exactly the concept they used, but not so big, because sugars are not supposed to be so big like that. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to play around, just place them in several places and tilt them using your transform tool to just tilt in several places. Control J to duplicate, bring this one up, use your transform tool to transform. Control J, take it to this side, transform to transform, just like this. Now why you have done that, you will need to like have one coming from the back that is very small, so that it looks at least real enough, you understand? So you can just reduce this and just put it at the back, and you're going to bring this at the back just like this. Yep, something like this. Now the next thing we're going to do is add the motion blur effects to it. So let's start with the first one, which is this one. Go to your filter, blur, and you look for motion blur. You see motion blur here. Now what you want to do is you're going to play around this and just, let's see what works well for us. Don't make it lose its effect. So yeah, we're going to work with this. Then just select the next one and just come here, and you automatically see the last used effect. Then go to the next one, filter, just like that, filter, just like that, and the last sugar at the back, filter, and just like that. So yeah, that's about that. That's like Mm, what else do you think we can add to this? Let's adjust the sugar well. Just adjust it. Let's see what we can add. We can increase this slightly. Oh no, it's too big. So, anyways, we can make this slightly smaller. So yeah, something like this can surface. It's just that when you are doing a design for Pepsi, I don't think they would want you to be projecting their drink like this. Yeah. To be fair, I don't think they want to showcase that yes, it's sugar. Instant. They'll prefer to probably have like an energy kind of vibe or something. So depending on what you want to create, right? Just group them sugar. You can always turn it off and on depending on if you feel oh I just want something very minimal and simple, you can turn this off, let's just turn it off. I prefer this. I prefer how simple it is and clean. So what do you think we can add to it? Let's look at this design. Okay. What do you think we can add to it? Let me see. Pepsi. We can add um, a field or a stadium kind of vibe. Let's go to Unsplash. So we're going to have two different concepts, one with a stadium, one without a stadium, just plain. So yeah, with this design, right, you can either make it a minimal design just like we just created, or we can make it a material design like a very, very, you know, very, very, what's it called? What's the grammar now? A very detailed design full of elements and materials and stuff. So yeah, let's look for something that we can use, a stadium we can use. Load more. Um, I don't plan to spend so much time searching for images because searching for images is another also on its own. So let's just pick one and I'll explain the idea I'm going for. So you personally, when you're working on that particular design, you can always like try out some other concept that you would love to try out, right? So yeah, so the idea is to have the stadium coming down here. Then instead of this, you just replace it with a table or something. So instead of having it just like this, and probably having what's the slogan of Pepsi? Pepsi slogan. I don't drink Pepsi, so get refreshed. For the love of it. Okay, yeah, for the love of it. That's the slogan. Or that's like the usual tagline they use. So we're going to like create that. Just type in for the love of it. So we're going to use a font called Fluffy Slacks, and we're going to increase just let's we're going to increase the size of our fonts of our text. I mean, let's make it for the love of it. Do I like this font? No, I don't like this font. Let's use what font can we use? Bebas. Yeah, I love this font. So we want something bold. All right. So let's just assume we want to have something like, okay, we just have to slightly increase this. Yeah, so like the tutorial itself, we're done with tutorial. What I'm trying to do is just add a bit of text effect and all that. So normally you can just place this here, just something very small here, right? And you can bring in the Pepsi logo PNG. You can bring that in. This is a transparent one because a lot of times Google used to lie and they tell you that it's transparent, then you download it and it's not. So yeah, I'm taking too much time on this. I'm spending too much time on this. I mean, so but yeah, just let us round this off. Pepsi, somewhere down here. And yeah, we're done with that. For the love of it, if you want it here, if you don't and you want it to just be somewhere here but faded in the background, so it has this kind of vibe, you can drag it down behind the what's it called, the bottle itself, and just change the color to probably soft light. Or overlay. Now because we can't see for the love of it, you can then reduce it slightly. Just something like this. Let's bring of it up there. Yeah, this works. All right, so you can leave it like this, save your work, or you can add some other effect to it anyhow you want to have it. And we are done. The next thing is to, as usual, select everything. That's click on the first layer. Let me test out this. Let's add our sugar. So yeah, let's bring down this for the love of it just slightly. All right, so I think this is not working out for me with the sugar. And what do we do? Okay, I can see a way out. Double click. Let's centralize the text. Bring in the text. Yeah, exactly. So for the love of it, that can still work. So now select the first, then hold down shift and select the last. Control Shift Alt E to transform everything to a single image. Now when you transform everything to a single image, come to your filter, camera raw filter. Now this camera raw filter only works for 2019 upward. I'm currently using 2022. So if you would want to like use your camera raw filter, it's best to use 2019 upward. So reduce the exposure slightly, reduce your contrast slightly, increase your highlights just a little bit. Now this part you just have to play around it and see what works for you. Understand? Probably in a more detailed lesson we are going to really look at camera raw filter and how it works. But yeah, for now just play around it and work with what works for you. All right, yeah, so this is our final product. You can see how nice this turned out to be. Very beautiful design. Not like you get, but I mean, I've made it so explanatory that you as a beginner can always pick it up to just try it out. Now, if you are going to take it to a very advanced stage, what you can do is add shadows and light to your sugars. to your sugar cubes. Now, because when the bottle is standing and you have your sugar flying around, the shadow of the bottle should at least reflect on the sugar, as well as the light from the back of the bottle should also reflect slightly. Especially like this particular part, this sugar here. You can see that since the light is coming from the back, there should be a form of light here. It gives a bit of realism. Understand? So yeah, that will be all for today. And yeah, if you love this tutorial and you would love to see more, please just give me a like, a comment, and for your comments you can always drop out design ideas that you love us to create. I'll be willing to always recreate it for you. And the reason why I chose this design was because I just scrolled online and I was just like, okay, let's just do this. So if you have concept that you love us to recreate, you can always recreate it. All right, have a wonderful day. Take care.